Ethen, I've got these baits. How am I supposed to catch fish? How do I use them? We're going to be talking about ice fishing reels from KastKing, and we're going to be talking about techniques and lures. My number one and favorite way to chase after game fish through the ice. This is what I do. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the KastKing channel. My name is Ethen Preston. I'm a KastKing Pro staff member here. And again, welcome back to the video series Outdoor Living with Ethen. Today's video, what I want to talk to you about, continuing our ice fishing theme, we're going to be talking about ice fishing reels from KastKing, what the differences are, and which one you can use or choose for your ice fishing combo for, again, our winter ice fishing season. So if you're anywhere up in the North Country, anywhere where you get ice, depending on what time of year you're at, I know people in Michigan and the East Coast, stuff like that, you get it a little bit later in the year. Here, I live in North Dakota. We've been ice fishing since the end of November this year. Sometimes, whatever our weather patterns are, I've actually been ice fishing before Thanksgiving. So it just depends on the year. We've got a lot of snow and a lot of good ice here in North Dakota and Minnesota where I ice fish predominantly. So again, in this video series, we're going to be talking about, we talked about the rod last time, now we're going to be talking about reels, different options, color options, as you can see here. I'm going to break it down for you, continuing this, talking about ice fishing. So trying to go in chronological order is the best as I can understand of how they released. KastKing has a spinning reel series called their summer series with multiple different sizes, as you can see here on the screen. This is the KastKing 500 series. One of the first reels that they have at this size to get into that ice fishing, that smaller reel market here. This one is white, obviously, with the accent of a little bit of blue. I'm gonna put all the specifications and stuff like that for you on the screen, so I don't have to bore you guys with reading all it off. You can see right here by these awesome graphics. One cool feature of this reel I want to mention, if you want to get into an ice fishing reel, it's a cool feature that I'm not sure it has on the other ones. It just actually is a quicker tip for you. They have a little button here, as you can see on the side. So mostly, if you're like me, I put my ice fishing rods and reels in a case. Actually have a buckle and stuff like that. The reel handle sticking out from a spinning reel doesn't cause it to let it to close. So what I end up doing with most spinning reels is loosening the nut up here, having this arm swing over. To speed things up a little bit, KastKing has a little bitty button here to where you can just end up pressing that button and your arm folds right away. Then you don't have to mess with that nut on the back side when you're ready to go fishing. Pop it out and you're ready to go. So a cool feature here. Next we have the KastKing Royale Legend 2 ice reel. Comes in multiple different colors. This is the closest one they have to yellow, my personal favorite color, kind of this high resin green. And then I also have one of the white ones as well. I believe it comes in another option is red. This is also in the 500 series. 500 is particularly the standard size for ice fishing when it comes to reels. One cool thing about having multiple colors is KastKing's done this over the years for their summer spinning rods and bait casting rods as well. Having multiple colors for each size rod and reel, that kind of thing. The one cool thing about this is predominantly, like we talked about in the other video, I'm running the KastKing Convert hard water graphite rods. I run pretty much the same rod with the medium tip all the time, but what I end up doing is switching colors with these reels. Is that this reel is going to be some of my bigger baits. This is going to be my spoon rod, that kind of thing. So I can actually just look at this in my rod box, pull that rod combo, reel combo out, and I'm ready to fish, and I'm not pulling them out looking at what I have on the tips, that kind of thing. So this actually speeds up the process for me. Has an extended long reel foot stem specifically designed for ice fishing and heavier gloves to where your gloves are not hitting your ice reel when it's reeling up and down. So you see how there's great separation here. I got the KastKing Polar mittens on here today, and you can see I can have my fingers here and not have that reel hit my gloves, even if I have the mitten portion out here when it's colder fishing outside the house. That I can grip this around and it's not hitting anywhere like that. That's where that longer stem comes in. The newest installment for the KastKing ice reels is actually the KastKing Zephyr 500. Okay, you can see that there's more of an exposed cylinder there. If you can see that light go through there. Makes this thing 5.6 ounces, so it's a super light reel. I don't know if you can see that there, but it comes with a braid ready spool. A lot of times when I'm ice fishing, I run straight braid or with a small fluorocarbon leader. This way you don't have to use your mono or your fluorocarbon backing to hold the braid on there. That textured rubber cylinder in there allows you to run straight braid. Saves time when you're rigging these things up, and extra knots. It's just so much harder when you're ice fishing because everything is smaller. So using this braid ready spool is awesome and saves a lot of time. So when you're looking to upgrade your ice rod and reel combos, and you have checked out the KastKing Convert series, the linear ice model or the hard water ice model, be sure to check out their 500 size reels that they have. Again, a couple different options, couple different models, so you can suit and change things the way you like to fish. And we're going to be talking about techniques and lures. My number one and favorite way to chase after game fish through the ice, and we're going to go into it right now. So I got little tackle boxes like this stuffed all over in my ice house, in my rod box, all those kinds of things. But I am going to show you, when I hit the ice, what style of baits I'm going to be throwing or dropping down the ice to attract all the game species of fish. Anywhere from your smaller bluegills all the way up to your trophy northern pike, perch in between, bass in between, it does not matter. This is how I'm going to start to call fish in. That's the biggest thing here, is wherever you set up, you think the fish are going to be there, but if they're not there, when you drop down, what are you going to do? Yes, you can move around a lot, but what I want to do is see and pick off the aggressive fish. And this is how I do it. As you can see, or listen, there's a lot of bait stuck in here, but one biggest thing is you can see, it's loud, it's noisy, it's a noisy box, okay? Similar to your cold water, if you're down south, you're throwing rattle traps or lipless crankbait, stuff like that. Ice fishing here, it's really taken over in the last 10 years with up in Canada, people dropping big size baits, catching giant walleyes, and that's how I got started using this system. Why won't these walleyes here in the States, or any other game fish for that matter, bite these baits down here? Started fishing with them, and what I was pleasantly surprised with, they do munch them. My number one bait that I start off with, choose whatever brand you want. These are the ones I've used over the last few years and have had great success. This is the Rapala Rip and Wrap. Number 5 is the size I start off with. Okay, what makes this bait awesome is that it's loud. When you drop it down, I've usually actually used some of those number 5s or even number 6s in 40 feet of water. If everything's quiet and you go to rip that sucker, you can hear a in 40 feet of water through over 12 inches of ice. That's how loud these things are. So now, Ethan, I've got these baits. How am I supposed to catch fish? How do I use them? This is what I do. Again, you get your ice rod, you hook it up there. We're going to drop that sucker down. We're going to hit it to the bottom, all right? Now, like anything, if you're using lipless baits, you're casting them out and you're reeling in. Most of the time, the tip of that head is down and it's doing that hunting action. Now, instead of reeling it at yourself, what you're doing is sitting right over top of that bait. So I drop it down, and here's the key. I'm going to show you this is the cadence that I've used that actually has caught me a lot of fish. It's going to depend on the attitude of the fish. Most of the time, I'm dropping to the bottom, big rip. So it's going to hit the bottom, rip, let it fall down, rip, let it fall down, and then I'll pick it up about, I don't know, 6 inches to a foot off the bottom. I'm going to sit there and hammer it like this. What that's doing is making that bait sit here vertically, and it's dancing like this back and forth, but it's also teetering from head to tail, side to side, head to tail. So that's making those BBs move up and down. Here's the key. If you're sitting like this, hitting the bottom, and a fish shows up, if you're using a Vexlaw or any kind of imaging system that allows you, depth finder, something like that, to see the fish and your bait, what I like to do is if I get a fish that shows up, I'm going to sit there and pound it right here, about that 6 inches to a foot off the bottom. I'm going to sit there and pound this. Again, it's making the bait do this. The fish is going to come up after it. I don't necessarily let it sit there. If I'm sitting there like this and the fish is coming, he's coming, I am lifting. You can see here, I'll start down here, and I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to keep making him chase that thing. So yes, it looks like a bait fish, but hey, it's not just sitting there. I got to go after it. A lot of times that's going to do 2 things for me. That fish is going to come up, and I'm going to lift up, and he's going to do 2 things. He's either going to come up and eat it, or he's going to come up and get bored and go away, okay? That helps me out. Most of the time, if you get on aggressive fish, aggressive bite, you're sitting there like just pounding, and all of a sudden that fish flies off the bottom, does not hesitate, your rod goes down, you set the hook, you get your some kind of fish. I've seen bluegills, perch, bass, walleyes, pike, doesn't matter the species, if they're aggressive, they will eat that thing doing that presentation. Here's the next part. I do this a couple times and that fish comes up and goes back down, comes up and goes back down. He's really curious, but it's too much of an aggressive presentation for him. Next step that I do, kind of this pairing system, is that I'm going to switch lures really quick. I'm going to have my other rod rigged up with this lure, and I'm going to show you what that is. And if you're in the ice fishing world, you've used this for many, many years, this is what I grew up, it's a spoon. I have this on another rod with a minnow head. Take a fat head minnow, you pinch the head off, you put it on there so it's got smell, it's got a target for that bait. I then drop it down, do the same thing. I'm not ripping this thing, I'm doing more pumping to where it'll fall down like this, but I sit there and hammer on it, causing the BBs in that chamber to making a bunch of noise. So again, I'm still sticking with noise if I can. Fish coming in. If you've ever held your breath or went swimming in a swimming pool or on a lake, you go underneath the water, you can hear all kinds of things. Boats way off in the distance, people talking outside the water. So I really like using sound as much as possible. There's going to be another option, and that's going to be in the next video, and I'm going to talk about that. That's my super finesse way that I like to target fish. So once again, my name is Ethen Preston, a pro team member here at KastKing. I want to thank you for watching my video series, Outdoor Living with Ethen. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Be sure to check out the next video. We're going to tease it a little bit where you guys are going to want to learn how to do the super finesse way that I like to catch fish through the ice. Also, be sure to check out all the other videos on the KastKing channel. Awesome people doing awesome things all across the world. And be sure to tune in next time. Thanks for watching.